Here we go again. Manchester United fans, and today's story dives into one of the most intense, strategic, and forward-thinking recruitment movements we've seen from the club in recent years. As the Ruben Amorim era settles into its next phase, Manchester United are not just looking for players, they are looking for cornerstones, personalities, and footballing identities capable of elevating the entire structure of the team. And right now, three names have surged firmly into the spotlight: Marc Guehi, Antoine Semenyo, and Aurélien Tchouaméni. These are not speculative links, these are not recycled clickbait stories, these are names consistently emerging from the top sources, from Premier League insiders, to Fabrizio Romano, to Sky Sports briefings, and each comes with a story, a context, and a reason why Manchester United are seriously evaluating them for the next chapter of the rebuild. We begin where stability matters most: the defense. Marc Guehi's situation at Crystal Palace is one of the most intriguing in the Premier League today. Palace adore him. They see him as a leader, a foundational defender, and arguably their most valuable asset on the pitch. His contract situation is firm and strong, with no pressure on the club to sell, and that is exactly what makes his story more dramatic. Palace know that top clubs, especially those rebuilding defensively like Manchester United, are circling. They know interest is not going away. And they know that Guehi, calm under pressure, intelligent in possession, brave in duels, and mature beyond his age, is destined for a bigger stage. Palace have already quietly prepared their stance for future negotiations, setting expectations for a fee that reflects his importance. They understand that losing him means losing one of the pillars holding their defensive structure together. Manchester United's admiration for Guehi is rooted in both data and personality. His consistency, his leadership, his ball-playing maturity, all of it fits what Ruben Amorim wants from a centre-back in his high-line, aggressive system. Amorim needs defenders who can defend huge spaces, read transitions, and build from the back without fear. With Castello Luqueba already installed as part of the new defensive core, the idea of pairing him with someone as secure, composed, and positionally disciplined as Guehi is incredibly appealing. Behind the scenes, internal staff see Guehi not just as a transfer target, but as a potential long-term defensive leader, someone capable of balancing youth and experience, someone who can bring authority to a back line that has lacked consistency for years. His arrival would instantly transform the structure, confidence, and coordination of United's defense. From the back line, the story shifts to the attack, and this is where Antoine Semenyo re-enters the Manchester United narrative after months of whispers, scouting reports, and renewed internal interest. Last summer, Manchester United monitored Semenyo as a potential option, especially when the club needed a wide forward who could inject power, chaos, and unpredictability into the attack. At that time, Bournemouth stood firm, rejecting the idea of any sale because Semenyo had just begun to explode in the league with his pressing energy, his acceleration, his ball carrying, and his directness in the final third. Bournemouth valued him highly, and they believed that with time, his ceiling would rise even more, and they were right. This season, Semenyo's importance at Bournemouth has grown significantly. He has become one of the Premier League's most dangerous transition players, combining explosiveness with improved finishing and smarter decision-making. His situation at Bournemouth remains secure, but not untouchable. With Manchester United now pushing for more intensity in the forward line, especially after seeing the impact Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha brought to the club, Semenyo fits the evolving profile perfectly. In an Amorim system that demands wingers who press aggressively, stretch defensive lines, disrupt build-ups, and carry the ball from deep spaces, Semenyo looks like a tailor-made signing. And it's important to remember what triggered United's initial interest last summer. The club was frustrated with the lack of direct runners, the lack of attackers who could turn defense into attack instantly, and the need for a forward who could physically dominate duels. Semenyo stood out as a unique weapon who could change the tempo of a match in seconds. With the squad now leaning heavily on players like Cunha and Mbeumo for intensity, adding Semenyo would supercharge that identity even further, giving United a forward who can bully defenders, break lines, and force opponents onto the back foot. It is no surprise that his name is returning to the red radar. He represents everything the modern Manchester United attack wants to become. And then we move to the most powerful name on this list, the midfielder who could redefine the center of the pitch, Aurélien Tchouaméni. His situation at Real Madrid is complex, layered, and tightly controlled. Madrid see him as part of their midfield succession plan, a player meant to carry the club into the next era. His contract is solid, his role is respected, and his performances have shown discipline and intelligence. But Madrid's midfield, as always, is loaded with world-class talent. The arrivals of Jude Bellingham and the rise of Camavinga have intensified competition. Fede Valverde remains immovable. Dani Ceballos continues to push for minutes. Even Arda Güler is expected to take more responsibility soon. And in the midst of all this, Tchouaméni sometimes finds himself rotating rather than dominating. Madrid are not desperate to sell, but they are aware that extraordinary offers can shift their position quickly, especially when planning for future contracts and major incoming investments. The key truth is this: if a club wants Tchouaméni badly enough and is willing to negotiate seriously, Madrid will at least listen. Manchester United's interest is deep and ambitious because Tchouaméni represents something the team has lacked for years: a midfielder with world-class defensive instincts, elite athleticism, high-level composure, and the ability to dictate tempo. In Amorim's structure, the midfield anchor is everything. It is the pivot point that decides transitions, controls space, drives build-up, breaks press lines, and sets the rhythm of the entire team. Casemiro has offered leadership, experience, and mentality, but the club knows the midfield needs an injection of youth, mobility, and long-term dominance. Tchouaméni is arguably one of the few midfielders in world football who can instantly elevate United to that level. His arrival would bring physical authority, tactical sharpness, ball-winning dominance, and progressive distribution, the complete modern profile. He doesn't just fill a gap. He transforms the identity of the team. And inside Carrington, there is a growing belief that if United truly want to rebuild their midfield into a competitive, elite unit, Tchouaméni is the kind of signing that changes everything, not just for now, but for the next decade. What links all three players, Guehi, Semenyo, and Tchouaméni, is purpose. Manchester United are no longer chasing names. They are chasing profiles, roles, behaviors, and personalities that fit Ruben Amorim's structure. These players are at the perfect age, carry the perfect balance of experience and potential, and reflect the new direction of United's recruitment strategy: younger, faster, stronger, tactically adaptable, and hungry to grow. Guehi brings stability and leadership to a defense in need of identity. Semenyo brings intensity, aggression, unpredictability, and goal threat to an evolving attack. Tchouaméni brings dominance, control, and long-term structure to a midfield in transition. In each case, Manchester United are not looking for stopgaps, they are looking for pillars. And as the transfer window approaches, the stories will intensify. Clubs will resist. Agents will negotiate. Sources will drip information. Prices will rise. And Manchester United will have decisions to make that could shape the next generation of the club. Everything happening behind the scenes, every interest, every call, every scouting report, every negotiation, is preparing the foundation for the future of Manchester United. And these names, these profiles, these potential signings, they are at the heart of it all.